This is the Mighty Oaks Daily Devotional. My name is Jeremy Stallnecker, and today, continuing through the 51st Psalm, we've already looked at this. This is the Psalm written by King David after being confronted on his sin with Bathsheba and having Bathsheba's husband murdered. I mean, this was a bad situation, and David cries out to God for forgiveness, and he explains so many things in this process that are a testimony to us. We come now today to verses 12 and 13. If you remember, yesterday we talked about the joy that comes from knowing the Lord and the joy that comes from the forgiveness of God in our lives. Here's what he says in relationship to that. So the joy is restored, and then what happens? Verse 12, restore unto me the joy of thy salvation and uphold me with thy free spirit. So you've provided cleansing. God, bring joy and peace back into my life. He explains why that's important in verse 13. Then will I teach transgressors thy ways, and sinners shall be converted unto thee. I love this. David, after sinning and being confronted on his sin, he asked God for the work of God in his life, for forgiveness, for cleansing, for a renewal of peace and joy. But he also understood that he had a responsibility on the other side of God's working in his life. Having repented, having confessed, having experienced forgiveness and cleansing, he knew that he then had a responsibility to what? Teach transgressors the ways of God and point sinners to a God where they could experience conversion. He says, and sinners shall be converted unto thee. God, use my testimony, use my story to point others to you. A sin that he tried to keep private was very public. A lot of people knew about it. It was confronted publicly. He wrote this psalm declaring publicly what he had done, acknowledging that only God could forgive, and allowing his public sin and public failure and public forgiveness to be a public testimony of what God could do in the lives of others. Listen, this is not in any way to communicate we should elevate our sin. But he said, as you have restored to me the joy of your salvation, as you have upheld me, I want to point others to you. This was not about elevating sin. It was about elevating the God of forgiveness. And as God works in our lives, as God cleanses, we have such an incredible opportunity to point others to Him. What has God done in your life? Use that. Don't simply be thankful for it. Use it to point others to the God of forgiveness. Thank you for joining me today. I look forward to talking to you tomorrow for another Mighty Oaks Daily Devotional. For more information about the Mighty Oaks Foundation and the work that we do for veterans, active duty service members, and first responders, please visit mightyoaksprograms.org.